Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. Thanks for watching. First on the docket, at least someone can be charged with murder for remains being found on their property. Second, more police officers being attacked. Our cold case, Jane Doe case of the day, and our dumb criminal of the day, along with the recap for the contestants up for the running of Dumb Criminal Contestant of the Week. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening to the podcast as well. If you haven't done so already, we'd ask that you obviously hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And as always, leave me a comment below. We do read the comments. Now, let's get to the docket. Yesterday on the docket, we had a lot of response as to why someone can't be charged when they find remains of somebody on their house. Why can't they be charged with a homicide? We found a case that illustrates the difference between the Lori Vallow case and this particular case. So let's take a look at Lori Shaver. She's been detained for the death of her 35-year-old husband, Michael Shaver, who has been missing since 2015. Now, Michael worked at Disney World as a monorail mechanic, and he vanished in 2015, but he wasn't actually reported missing until 2018 when a suspicious friend who had not heard from him requested a welfare check. When officers arrived at the couple's home in Florida in early 2018, they found no sign of Michael whatsoever. Now, Lori told the police, allegedly, that she hadn't seen from Michael since 2015. She permitted her home to be searched, but eventually referred police to her attorney for any further questions. Michael's last sighting was actually November 7th of 2015. Now, the probable cause affidavit reports that between 2015 and 2018, Lori allegedly pretended to be Michael on social media, assuring his family and friends he was fine, just having started a new life in Georgia, and he just wanted to be left alone. Police further allege that Lori signed into Michael's social media account in January of 2018, 2 months before his body was actually found. The police also alleged that Lori had drained her husband's bank account during his disappearance. She also sold off his tools and firearms, I guess figuring he wasn't going to need them. Well, his remains were found in March of 2018 by a cadaver dog searching the couple's 5-acre property. The body had been buried beneath a concrete slab on top of which a fire pit had been installed. Does any of this sound familiar to a couple of the cases we've been following here in Crime Talk? Michael's body was positively identified through DNA in roughly June of 2018. What happened to Lori, which led to her demise, is she started dating a few months after Michael's death and told her new boyfriend he was not missing. In fact, she told him he was no longer walking this earth. The new then boyfriend, a gentleman by the name of Travis Filmer, cooperated with investigators. Filmer also allegedly told them that she had admitted to burying her husband's remains on the property. Lori is also charged with being an accessory after the fact to second-degree homicide, and she's currently being held in jail without a bond. Police still don't really have a motive other than she just didn't want to be with Michael any further. There was apparently a domestic dispute in 2014 where Lori allegedly struck Michael with a gun, but he was the one that was actually arrested, as officers believed he was the one who pulled out the weapon during the fight in the first place. Investigators also believe that Lori told friends and family that Michael had been stalking her and that she was receiving child support payments from him. Despite never filing divorce papers, Lori eventually remarried in a ceremony that was allegedly conducted near the concrete plot where Michael's body was buried. To add insult to injury, investigators say that the new couple's initials were actually etched into the concrete above the exact spot where Michael's body was found. That's cold. Now, the moral of this story is that, as you can see, just because a body is found in your backyard doesn't necessarily mean that the police can prove that you had something to do with it. It was not until the ex-boyfriend came forward and stated that Lori had in fact told him that Michael was no longer walking the earth and that she had disposed of him. The moral of this story is that you can see, just because a body is found on your property, as it was in this particular case way back in January of 2018, it doesn't necessarily mean that the police can charge you with something unless they have some information which talks about knowledge, that knowing element. Here, the ex-boyfriend of Lori came forward and stated that she had said he's no longer walking the earth, as well as the fact that she admitted to burying his remains. That is enough to do that. As you can see in the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case, there's no admissions, at least a direct admission where somebody says they buried the remains or they had something to do with the death. But you saw what the police did in this particular case in Florida as it related to Lori Shaver. They waited. He's reported missing in 2018. They find the body in 2018, and now they're just finally getting around to it so that they made sure that they had enough information. If they had simply charged her with possibly having the remains in the backyard with no evidence of that, she would either have been found probably not guilty, and jeopardy certainly would have attached under the rule of compulsory joinder, where you have to bring all actions at the same time. You cannot piecemeal them together. Here, the police waited. They got the murder charge as well as the accessory for burying the body in the backyard. Sometimes you just have to be patient. Obviously, we'd always like to have the cases where someone is charged, promptly taken to trial, convicted, and or found innocent. But sometimes you have to be patient. That's why we have lengthy statute of limitations in most cases involving homicide. So I hope that helps explain why there's been no charges in the Lori Vallow matter. As I tried to do yesterday, this was a good example. Before we go on, let's take a quick recess. Do you think the men and the man who ultimately married Lori would have liked to have known the circumstances regarding her ex-husband? That's right. If they had gone to CrimeTalkSearch.com, they could have. They could have found out that, well, she was still married. They could have done a criminal background search. They could have done records searches regarding her husband and maybe found out that no one had seen him since 2018. And if you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you can sign up for that background subscription service. There is a nominal fee, but guess what? You can cancel at any time. But those reports that are generated after you search someone completely anonymously, a report is generated and you get information regarding emails, phone numbers, social media, all associated with that person that you're searching, as well as criminal history, property records, bankruptcy records, marital records. Those are the types of things that are important when you go about meeting new people in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be taken by the fraudsters out there. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. Find out with whom you are dealing with. You'll be happy you did. Next on the docket, more police under attack. The home of 2 Camden County, New Jersey police officers and their 10-day-old infant were struck 6 times by bullets earlier this week, and authorities are asking for the public's help in locating suspects. Neither the officers nor the baby were injured. Investigators believe that this was a targeted attack, and it's uncertain why they chose to target his home residence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty bold to have a beef with a police officer, let alone obviously fire rounds at somebody, but to go to their house to do it where their family is there. That's taken it to a whole new level. I don't know what the hell is going on in the world, but it just seems like things are a little bit out of control lately. Police allege that a Honda Odyssey pulled up on the home Tuesday and opened fire. The vehicle has been recovered, but they said they're seeking help in recovering and locating the owner, driver, or passengers of the Honda Odyssey. The police say that it is critical for them to speak to the owner, the occupants, or friends of anybody that operates this particular vehicle. Both of the officers had been with the department, one for 2 years and one for 4 years. Their names have not been released, and there is currently a $200,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the individuals literally trying to ambush these officers at their house. If you have any information, let someone know. Next on the docket, our cold case regarding Jane Doe's. Now, today's case goes back to 1983, and I think what is somewhat, I wouldn't say disturbing, but it's sad that these people have been missing for so long. There's no identification. The police haven't been able to identify these individuals, and it appears as though nobody is even looking for them as far as family members, friends. So maybe there's someone somewhere out there that has some information regarding these cases. In this case, like I said, goes back to January 24th of 1983, where a gardener found a decomposing human body in Foss Creek behind a winery near Healdsburg, California. The body did not have its head attached at the time. Searchers later did find the head to the body, and on the body were blue jeans, one brown sock, a J.C. Penney's brand undergarments, and a brown ankle-length lace-up boot. A number of personal items were located near or with the body, including food stamp vouchers originally issued in June of 1982 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, forensic anthropologists have determined that the remains belong to a white or Caucasian female between the ages of 30 and 50 years old, and that she stood about 5 feet, 5 inches tall. Now, despite suspicion that the deceased may have been connected to serial killer Joseph Nasso, active in the area just prior to the date of the recovery of the remains, no links have since been confirmed. Law enforcement investigators at the time of the remains were recovered concluded that the body had been washed out of a shallow grave further upstream where it was ultimately discovered. Now, if anyone has information about this particular case, please contact Detective Craig Smith at the Healdsburg Police Department at 707-431-3145. Maybe we can bring some peace and close out some cases here for these Jane and John Does. Next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, and then we'll recap all of our contestants for the week, and you let me know in the comments below who should win. Meet George Vacherlon. Now, Mr. Vacherlon is 48, and when the police took him into custody the other night, Eustis, Florida, which is about 40 miles from Orlando. Mr. Vacherlon, he is an ex-convict with a rap sheet, including multiple felony convictions, charged with possession of ammunition by a convicted felon after police found a Remington .22 caliber round inside his Jeep driver's door pocket. Vacherlon's male passenger, with whom he shares a home, was busted on drugs charges after officers found methamphetamine and used syringes in his bag. Mr. Vacherlon is currently locked up on a $10,000 bond and was placed in handcuffs that were double locked and checked for proper fit. Now, if you would take a look at Mr. Vacherlon's photo, his booking photo, apparently Mr. Vacherlon didn't have the key for the steel bondage collar that went around his neck, apparently sometime earlier in the evening. It certainly begs the question if the bondage collar was used with the methamphetamines as well as firearms. But needless to say, Mr. Vacherlon didn't have the key, and it was unclear exactly how the authorities were going to get that off of him. So, Mr. Vacherlon, you are our final dumb criminal contestant of the week. Now, you all decide. A quick recap. First, if you may recall, we had the pizza pelter, Patrick Steiner, who was upset about being asked to wear a mask and started throwing pizzas. Then we had Cynthia Teeple. That's right. Tuesday, she was found naked with a horse, chewing on the horse's mane because it tasted like Laffy Taffy. Then we had Herbert McClellan, who stole a bunch of scratch tickets from the convenience store only to come back and try to claim the prize from the same store in which he stole the tickets. Yesterday we had Miss Sint. That's right, she was the mad pooper who had to elude the police officers to get to the restroom, which ultimately wound up in felony charges. And obviously today, Mr. George Vacherlon, the bondage caller for your booking photo. Let me know who you think the winner should be. We'll announce the winner on Monday. And the winner will get, courtesy of Crime Talk, a Crime Talk mug. Now, I can tell you, you do not want to be a dumb criminal contestant of the week. If you want a mug, along with a bunch of new merchandise that has been put up as of today, hit the link, go there, order your new merchandise, and it will be to you before you even know it. And now's the time to start thinking about Christmas. Now's the time to start hinting to that significant other that you want Crime Talk merchandise for Christmas. Go to the link below. You're going to love this stuff. All right, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch Crime Talk. And this weekend, let's say you don't have a whole lot to do. Maybe you just need spend a little alone time. Come spend it with us. Go watch all of our videos that we've put up over the last 2 years. There's some good stuff. And you can see that for the most part, I usually get it right when it comes to trying to show the outcome of a particular case. That's all we've got today. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend.